got this microphone. Now, I want one of these for my house. I would never have to yell again. Where are you going? Go to your room. The bus is coming. Why do you have duct tape rope in my umbrella? I could also use it. I'm a soccer coach. This would keep me from having the aneurysm that I'm going to have on the sidelines. You know, Joe, you're offsides. Joe, you're offsides. I could be like, Jake, you're right fullback. Why are you on the left? Put up your right hand, Jake. Now follow your hand, Jake. You are now on the right side, Jake. I want this for Mother's Day. Now, for Mother's Day, what I have for you is, just like I say in the title of my book, stop second-guessing yourself. Because after you hear this story, this proud parenting moment, you're going to feel much better about yourself. Okay. It's called Good Night, Yeah Right, Nobody Sleeps Here. I couldn't tell her the truth. I couldn't tell her nobody sleeps here. So when my neighbor Janet, then pregnant with her first, asked if she could sleep over while her husband was away on business, I simply said, yes, when really I wanted to ask, okay, but can I stay at your house? It was kind of cute how vulnerable Janet was that night. She didn't want to be home alone, figuring that staying overnight in my full house would give her that warm, safe feeling that she hadn't had since she stopped being able to break into a sprint not long after her first ultrasound. That night, Janet and I stayed up late and chatted for a bit, and apparently so did my children. I could hear them on their baby monitors, and I could feel it already. This was going to be a long night. Janet got ready for bed and then waddled into the guest room and shut the door. My husband and I went to our room, but not for long. Our not quite 3-year-old son, Nicholas, called me, Mommy! I skidded down the hall and tried to shush him, but he knew house guests means no sleep for the big people. I scooped him up and brought him back into my bed, where I figured that the 3 of us would fall asleep. That's when my toddler, Christopher, started to cry. I raced down the hall, picked him up before he could work himself into a full-out wail, and brought him back to my big bed, where I figured that the 4 of us would fall asleep. I suppose it was kind of cute how vulnerable I was. It wasn't long before Nicholas elbowed me and Christopher kicked him, and soon everybody pushed Daddy off the bed. It was like Friday night smackdown in feety pajamas. It was a work night, so my husband ditched us to get some sleep in Nicholas's room, while I started to wonder where Janet kept her house keys. For the next few hours, I would beg, plead, bribe my kids to go to sleep. I filled and refilled bottles, and so I changed and rechanged diapers. I'd get one to almost nod off, and then the other one would wake him up. I felt like Lucille Ball trying to keep chocolates on the conveyor belt. It just wouldn't stop. Finally, my baby fell asleep. I thought his big brother had dozed off too until I heard a faint, "Where's my crayon?" Nicholas had been holding a green crayon all night, and apparently he couldn't go to sleep without it. "I'll get you one in the morning," I mumbled. "Where's my crayon?" he asked more loudly. My toddler twitched, but fell back asleep. "Shh, I'll get you an entire new box in the morning. 64 crayons with the pencil sharpener." "I want my crayon." He raised his voice. His brother grimaced, but kept sleeping. "I will drive you to the Crayola factory tomorrow and get you whatever you want. Just please go to sleep." I clenched my teeth, calculating how long it would take me to drive to Pennsylvania to buy crayons. "I want my crayon," he shouted, and with that, his brother awoke. Wah! My toddler cried, his brother cried, I cried. It was now 3 o'clock in the morning, and I hadn't slept at all, and yet I wasn't at a keg party or vacationing in a different time zone. Well, I'm not used to sitting. I picked them both up and carried them downstairs, where I refilled their bottles yet again. We wrapped ourselves in blankets and curled up on the couch. I figured that the 3 of us would just fall asleep there. And then that's when I heard it. Beep, 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 beep. Our phone had broken earlier that day, or really the day before, and though it was unplugged, it beeped incessantly, like a scene from a Twilight Zone episode where the appliances try to take over the earth, or a garbage truck yard at 5 a.m. Beep, 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 beep. I jumped off the couch, threw open the kitchen window, and hurled the phone into the backyard. Then I closed the window, got back on the couch, wrapped everyone up in blankets, and tried to go to sleep. Good. Good. The phone was beeping in the backyard in the snow, and my kids were wide awake. So I did what any desperate mother would do. I bundled my boys in their snowsuits, warmed up the car, and took them for a ride around the neighborhood at 4 a.m. Nobody was out. Not a car, not a deer, not a squirrel, not another mother trying to get her kids to go to sleep. My car thermometer read 11 degrees. I thank God that my mother-in-law didn't live in my town. Finally, my baby fell asleep. I drove him home, pulled him out of his car seat, but not his snowsuit, and placed him in my bed. Then I put Nicholas, drowsy but awake, in the bed next to him and climbed under the covers. I started to doze off when, "Where's my crayon?" Where? I marched down the hall, poked my husband like a cop trying to move a drunk from the bank's front door, and barked, "It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I have been awake all night. It's your turn, Buster." Without a word, he shuffled down the hall, climbed into our bed, and all three of them fell right asleep. I, on the other hand, was wide awake. The next morning, aka 90 minutes later, my husband was brushing his teeth when he glanced out the bathroom window and spotted our phone in the snow. He thought, "What the?" And then, oh, he knew exactly how the phone had wound up in the backyard. He shrugged and went back to brushing his teeth. When Janet came downstairs, I apologized for all the commotion the night before. She swore she heard nothing, but I noticed that the next time her husband went away on business, she stayed home alone. If only she had invited me overnight.